yeah, look at us. How about that intro?
Got to get me one of those graphics.
Yeah, right. I had to pay good money through Fiverr to get that made.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for doing this. I think we're going to do this every couple weeks. Um,
I like the sound of it. Yeah, it's a good thing to do when we're not just having our head down in editing studios.
for sure. Let's see. I'm trying to see who may have jumped on yet. I just want to say whoever jumps on, please ask questions and we'll try to ask them as soon as possible. Let me see. I've got show comments on stage, so I think we'll see what happens. Regular, tall, wide. Anyway, we'll see.
We'll definitely get people who will comment on this after the video is actually finished going live. So we'll make efforts to interact with those when they do pop up.
Yeah. Anyway, I've seen some of the stuff you've been posting. Looks like you've been getting some backcountry skiing in.
Well, there wasn't really much other option like this early season. It's been a bit of a slow start in the interior BC, but yeah, I've had two pretty fun days out. There was a couple of days back on McRae, which is I would say east of Revelstoke. No, south of Revelstoke. And then yeah, this past weekend when the resort was due to open, went up onto Rogers Pass for the very first time. That was an awesome experience because I've never done that before. And for anyone who knows, Rogers is that is the standard bearer of backcountry skiing in this region. But there was a lot of tourers in that Discovery Center car park.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they don't have much choice right now, right? But
No.
to go get the backcountry in.
Yeah. I mean, last weekend was pretty good as well. Like if you'd gone the week before that, we'd had a lot of snow at the higher elevations, a lot of wind, and so the pack was a bit unstable. There'd been a couple of early season reports of some avalanches, but then the week just gone was cold and it was dry, and so things had kind of settled down a little bit, and everyone was in this sort of same area on this route up towards what's known as Baloo Pass. But you've got so many different bowls that are connected around that. So we went up a route that's called Dispatcher's Bowl. I won't reveal too much more because the video hasn't quite come out yet, but it was definitely worth it. The legs were feeling it the next day, I'll say.
Yeah. Well, some of my first videos I did on here were kind of backcountry skiing by myself. Like I'd go out on Thanksgiving or Christmas morning. And yeah, it's a good way to get some exercise, get in shape. I'd usually do kind of like off the side of a ski resort just for safety's sake. But I think the best one I've done is called Birthday Pass over near Seattle.
Okay.
So there's some gorgeous ways to get out there. Now my stuff's just been sitting on the shelf the last year.
Yeah.
But I need to do more backcountry.
So there's quite a bit of backcountry to enjoy over that way then?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there definitely is. And especially when you get more into the Cascades or Central Washington.
Yeah.
There's some epic things over there. And that's close to there is where I got avalanche certified and things.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Northwest is awesome for all that.
Yeah. So you weren't put off by all the shocking content in the AST course then? Because I feel like that's what it's, in a way, it's designed to shock you as well as educate you. And if you can still want to keep doing it after that, then you've got the right approach.
You know, it's been like 6 years now, and I had a great time with it. I stayed. There's this. I did an interview with a guy that manages some of these, but they have these kind of veteran ran places. They're not veteran anymore. What are they? I can't remember what they're called, but there's these big lodges you can stay at, and I stayed at that, hung out, and yeah, I wasn't scared. All I remember at this point, just kind of don't go in valleys and don't go too steep.
Yeah.
And don't go after it dumps, right? And I'm not trying to get hurt, so I think that's pretty safe bet.
Yeah. Storm skiing, I think, is a big risk. I actually had some friends that were up at one of these cabins in the past the weekend of that storm, and I was, they are very, very experienced. But that for me, that would not be a risk I'd want to take. But it's good. I mean, the courses in here are in such high demand because everybody wants to get up and get touring. once they've had their fill of the resort. But that's pretty hard to do. So I mean, you've been skiing already, haven't you? You were in Sunshine, was it?
Yeah, it was awesome. I got a lot of video of that too. I'm trying to do like a little 3-act structure with Melissa. So it's going to be one of those irritating things where you see people go up with their girlfriend. By the way, Melissa's my fiance now. We're getting married. And I
Congrats.
think you noticed that. Yeah. So that's a big deal. But yeah, it was our first trip since being engaged. And yeah, it was early season conditions, but like a quarter of it was skiable.
Yeah.
We stayed at the Sunshine Village Lodge.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if people are familiar with that, but you go up this gondola. You stay up on the mountain. It's kind of a tiny village.
Yeah.
It's a pretty luxury way to stay skiing, especially when it was colder than hell.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. And yeah, and we've gone up early season the last 2 years to Canada, to Lake Louise and Sunshine. And I'd really recommend it because, especially Sunshine, it's high enough. They seem to get some snow that sticks.
They do. They definitely get it earlier and more than Lake Louise. Like Lake Louise, I think they get the cooler temps, but then they have to do a bit more man-making snow before they get more of the natural stuff. So yeah, Sunshine is always seems to be a sure one to open the earliest. The surrounding ones, especially in the interior BC, I think they try to keep up, but yeah, it's been another year this year with a week longer to wait.
Well, you can see I bought the hat. I'm sporting the hat from going up there. The debate is this. This is probably what everybody wants to talk about. Right. And I asked this question: Lake Louise or Sunshine? What do you prefer?
Oh, well, so I've really not visited both of them. So I visited Louise briefly a year or two ago for an early season trip, but I haven't done Sunshine since I was a kid. Now, both of my experiences have not been filled with abundance of snow, but I remember the first time as a kid, my impression of Sunshine was awesome just because of the topography, the layout of the resort. It's in this huge wide open bowl. Louise, I seem to remember there being some cool stuff off the back. But then what really put me off was a year or two ago when I went back to Louise for that opening season. And, they don't have the downhill racing there anymore. So that kind of novelty of it has worn off for me. And I remember the price of the burgers at the lodge were just horrendous.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, with that being said, what would you recommend if there was a battle, Sunshine or Louise?
I would go to Sunshine. It's for me in my mind, I kind of feel like there's more there that I want to explore now. Apparently there's some great stuff off the slack country, the back country you can explore. And as you've touched on, there's accommodation on the resort. It is a little bit different because it's within a national park. And so it's there's only so much sort of actual infrastructure and buildings you can have on it. So it is quite a pretty wild and still rugged landscape. So that's mine. I will say this though, the experience I remember of Sunshine was being there with my dad and my brother on a chairlift up one side of the bowl. I forget which one. And it was a clear blue day, but it was -25 Celsius.
Yeah.
The chair broke down. We were on there for anywhere between, I want to say 45 minutes to over an hour. They were slowly trying to bring this chair back to life. They had patrol underneath shouting at you guys saying, "Hey, we're going to get this working. Don't worry. We've got when they eventually got you to the top, they just burrowed you into the little cabin box, and they had hot chocolate already there to warm you up." So
that's what the ski resort payoff is when they froze you to death for 30 minutes. They're like, well, we better give them a hot chocolate coupon. Yeah. I have that. There's a little resort around here called -49 degrees north.
Okay.
And when we were kids, we got stuck on the same thing for an hour. And then we got off the chair and they're like, oh, here's a hot chocolate coupon. It just doesn't seem worth it. We nearly died up there. And hot chocolate isn't good enough. But the one thing, so my answer to that, I was curious what you'd say. So you did say you're leaning towards Sunshine between the two. So I've always liked Lake Louise because I like the layout of the mountain. The parking's easy. It's easy to get there. It's good skiing. It's beautiful. And
Mhm.
I don't really like the experience of getting up to Sunshine and the gondola and then kind of being stuck up there and having to bring your gear.
Yeah.
But when you can stay up there, Sunshine's amazing
Mm.
because you can't stay anywhere on Lake Louise. And also, like, both of them have amazing views.
Yeah.
But the skiing at Sunshine's kind of strange. There's weird angles on the hill. But I mean, that's a hard, I ask because I'm not sure either. But I'm
Yeah.
leaning towards Sunshine now because I've had so many great days. But I think Lake Louise is more skiable, more approachable. You just
Mm.
get up to the top and start going. There's tons of parking. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it depends on where you're at in your sort of ski life, right, and what your priorities are. So, I think I've shown on my cards pretty clearly about where I'm at. And when you live in a small community town, you're not necessarily uh, rushing to be at a place that's going to, be a short drive away from the city folk. I've done my time in sort of larger resorts, and you learn to appreciate a little bit more of the all-round experience. And that's not to say that Lake Louise does not have it, but yeah, when I sort of came back, it was a very different feeling to when I was there as a kid. So who knows? I think I need to go back to both of them at a point where like the full terrain is open, they're good snow days, and then really give it a bit more of a thought. But I would lean towards Sunshine.
Yeah. The other thing is, obviously you post a ton about Revelstoke, which I appreciate. Melissa loves the place, and we'll be back for sure. There's some resorts around there that everybody's curious about, like Golden. Do you go? That's the one I haven't been to in the area that I'd really like to go to. Golden, Kicky
Yeah,
Horse. Do you
yeah.
bother with any of those, or are you just happy enough at Revelstoke?
Yeah, no, I've done a couple of trips to Kicking Horse now over the last few years, and that again is a pretty unique place. I again have been there with a couple of different sort of weather scenarios, and I had a really awesome first time there as a kid. We were staying in Lake Louise as a family, and we busted up to Kicking Horse. And the day we got there, I mean, it was just dumping with snow. As a kid, I never remember seeing so much snow. Like we were doing runs where as a kid, the moguls were taller than me. That's what I remember.
Nice.
And I remember, my dad got me into sort of rock music from a very young age. So to see a chairlift called Stairway to Heaven was a really cool thing for me. And they had like this little yurt bar right at the base there. And that was cool. That was pretty unique. There's not a lot of places like that. And when I went back a year or two ago there, it was a Bluebird day, freezing cold again, but being able to see everything, see the valleys, the runs themselves were glorious. And as I've taken on more of the backcountry side of things, that's an area I'd like to go back and kind of explore. There's a really spectacular like restaurant right at the top with this beautiful panoramic views of the mountains, which, food wise and drink is pretty pricey, but there's not, the one thing Revelstoke doesn't really have consistently right now is somewhere where you can actually properly have dining on the mountain. You can get your burgers to grab and go, but definitely the European in me has grown up a lot of sitting down and maybe having half an hour, 45 minutes with a couple of beers and a plate of something. So to be able to get that with next to a roaring fire, I was all over that.
Yeah, and I'm going to use that as a segue to brag about my trip last year. I don't think we talked, but I made it to Chamonix and Zermatt.
Oh, how was that?
Well, there's a lot to be said. My biggest complaint about America, and I'm going to put Canada in there, is the food at our ski resorts. It's a premium price. It's crap food. I did a review on Zermatt and Chamonix, but I mean, the one thing they got is you sit down in Chamonix and they'll have a charcuterie that is legit in a second. Right. Yeah. And some of the best beers and wines or whatever kind of drink you want, even their hot chocolate's better. Yeah. Across the board, it's just better. Yeah. That the food thing is insane. And Zermatt, I loved. Zermatt, Chamonix, I'd always wanted to go. I'd always heard about it. you know, and then I finally made it there. It was a bucket list place, and I
Yeah.
just found the shuttle system archaic and busy. I found the skiing, at least the on piste, like beautiful, but not very fun
Yeah.
and too busy. A lot of what I call gapers, you know, it's a huge tourist spot.
So that was Zermatt.
That Chamonix, I felt that way
Right.
about.
Right.
Whereas opposed to Zermatt, you got this great little village. You don't
Mhm.
really need to get around much. Everything's walkable.
Yeah.
There's tons of restaurants, busy. Lots of so many places on the mountain that are unreal,
Yeah.
like unlike anything we have in America. All have good food and a good
Yeah.
vibe. Um, and the skiing, I just had a little more fun at Zermatt. There were longer on piste runs.
Yeah.
So I Zermatt I thought was amazing. I recommend that to anybody. But Chamonix, I don't know, maybe if you go on a weekday, maybe I would have been nice maybe if I stayed in Argentière versus
Yeah.
Chamonix itself. So
Yeah, Argentière is a lovely place to stay. Yeah, I mean Chamonix, the town, is a great place to go for a night out. But yeah, I can see why that might have felt a bit touristy, because it's very much, you know, it attracts its own crowd, and a lot of those are your actually those more sort of extreme ski enthusiasts. But it's positioned so it's almost like a bit of a gateway to the Alps as well. So you do have a lot of people that come through there. Um, I'm glad you mentioned Zermatt though, and you know the experience there. I mean, the a lot of these Swiss towns are very um, idyllic, but the thing, because so I went actually went to Switzerland a couple of weeks back for an autumn break, and the one thing I remembered, and this will tie into what you've just touched on with like the food and I guess the hospitality side of things, is that for a lot of these places, you know, they don't just live in the mountains in the valley, they live on the mountains as well. So their life is like so integrated with it, and so for them there's a real, you know, there's a real connection to the mountains, and I think they pride themselves on perfecting and providing a rich experience that is all round connected. So, you know, I mentioned having food on the hill, like that's one aspect of it. Like you can still ski hard all day, have, you know, rip it up in powder or have an awesome groomer day, but you know what's the point of coming all that way actually if you can't enjoy someone's mountain recipe that's been crafted for 60-70 years in a little farmhouse hut. Likewise, if they've got a charcuterie restaurant down in the town, and you know that is an extra thing that you come away from remembering from your trip there. Whereas, like, you know, and this isn't, I'm not generalizing, but you know, you're not necessarily going to come away from a trip and rave about that burger, you know, that you had, really, are you? Or a pizza,
no.
unless it's super unique, you know. That's just, you're just going out to find somewhere to have a few drinks and have some food, right?
Yeah, well, what I found is we went to like the premier fondue place, and I put that in my video too. But what I liked the best was they had raclette burgers.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. That alone is something special about the place. And yeah, they just have an interesting food. It was all encompassed. The hotel we stayed at was nice too. But yeah, I mean, as a Brit, I mean, what do you think? Like, I noticed like a lot of the people were British that were in Chamonix. It seems to be like the go-to place for winter skiing.
Yeah, well, I would say actually the number one destination for the Brits in France would be the Port du Soleil region. So that's Avoriaz, Morzine, but again, not too far from Chamonix. And the reason why that is so popular is, you know, it's roughly an hour flight from most UK airports into Geneva.
Okay.
Likewise into Chambéry, which is a little bit more of a smaller airport, but it's pretty much purposefully there for the main UK carriers for the winter season. It does get a lot of problems there, but essentially from there, Brits can fly in, and it's maybe, depending on where you go, anywhere between like an hour to 2-3 hours, up to a lot of these huge resorts, which have enormous ski terrain, enormous interconnected terrain. You've then got the obviously the hospitality side of things, the food and beverage, the après scenes. So that they come there. It's an all-round good time for them, and especially popular with the UK families. I think if you've got a little bit more of a, an older group of Brits, you're more inclined to maybe go somewhere like an Austria or a Switzerland or an Italy, depending on your budgets. But yeah, France is just it's a safe bet. I have my criticisms on France because yes, the food is good, but any Brit will sort of tell you that do they feel as welcomed there as they might somewhere like an Austria or Switzerland? No. But I think that's the old historic sort of Franco-Anglais relations just pulling and pushing every now and then.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I agree too. It's like, what do these people even want me here? Like, if you don't want me here, I mean, I'm happy to go to Zermatt. I love the Dolomites.
Yeah.
I mean, they just kind of seem like they don't even want you there. And I'm nice,
Yeah.
and Melissa's super nice. That was, I mean, I know I've always heard that about France. And when I was young, I went to Marseille and I couldn't believe how rude they were. I was like, well, maybe up here they'll be nicer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're mean, but they just generally don't seem to want you there. And I'm kind of going, well, maybe I'll go somewhere else next time. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is coming obviously from a very I mean, look, I've been there as a skier, but then I've also worked there. So, and the longer you kind of.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to get you in trouble. Yeah,
no,
you may
no,
want.
no, no,
I don't want to burn any bridges for you.
No, you're all right. I mean, what I'm getting at there is that actually, sort of the longer kind of working in this environment, I kind of understand it when you're working in that industry and there's such a high volume of people you deal with on a regular basis that I think maybe depending on obviously when if you're going into a restaurant mid-February in like the Three Valleys in France, for example, in Val Thorens, you might come across a couple of very frazzled and burnt out waiters and waitresses. So I mean, don't be too surprised, like maybe to not get a smile, but generally there is that stereotype. I think it'd be very interesting to maybe speak to someone of French origin who works in mountain hospitality to see their side of it. Would
be interesting. That's what we're here for. I wouldn't mind throwing a third person on here. If you know anybody in France in hospitality that wants to like push me back into the France is amazing category, I would love to talk to them. Yeah. But I mean, I've worked at ski resorts too. And I like here, they call it Hell Week. It's really 2 weeks. It's basically a few days before Christmas and a few days after New Year's is everybody's frazzled. But anyway, it's interesting to hear your perspective because you've lived it. And but definitely on the positive note, Chamonix, I'm glad I've gone there. I don't think I'll ever go back or recommend it to anybody. But Zermatt, amazing. Yeah. Let me mind you for some more information.
Okay.
So luckily, Melissa loves skiing. We're going to go to Austria.
Lovely.
For like 2 weeks. Okay. I've stopped through and I went to Kitzbühel and a little resort in Innsbruck. Where should we go skiing in Austria?
Okay. I mean, I got a shout. So my second season was in Seoul, which was part of the ski area that's called the Ski Welt. That is roughly 330 kilometers of connected ski areas across 8 towns.
Can I stop you for a second? I don't know how hard this will be, but let's try to use some of this fancy technology here.
You want me to write it in the comments?
No, I'm going to put us up on the screen and I'll pull up a map of the area.
Oh yeah, if you can.
And maybe you can point us in the right direction. Hang on.
So this is actually not too far from Kitzbühel. It's about just under an hour and a half drive from Salzburg Airport. So really not that far. And yeah, if you're wanting, say, a good area with, a lot of sort of family friendly runs, some challenging stuff, but then also an all round great sort of après ski experience with fantastic on mountain food. I can't recommend a better place. And
so how do I spell it? I'll put it in here.
It's got that funny dot on the top of the O, but maybe if you just type in Skiwelt, so Skiwelt.
We'll just go with marketing bureau. That'll get us close enough.
Yeah, like it's not that far from, what have you got here? Skiwelt. So that's what town are you at there? Is that Elma?
I'm gonna murder the
Dorf.
perch moose or Dorf Buki.
Zoom out a little bit. I'm trying to see which town you're. Oh, there's Schafau. So yeah. So basically, you look at this area in the middle of this road connection. Like if you put it on the satellite mode, that's probably a better way to look at it. But this is like 8 towns. So you've got like Sol, Elmau, Schafau, Westendorf. What else have you got? There's a few. I'm trying to remember off the backside there. Westendorf, we've already mentioned. Kirchberg. Kirchberg kind of connects you off the back to Kitzbühel. So yeah, like tons and tons of skiing. Some really beautiful scenery. If you wanted something another little sort of good connected area, there's also one that's called the Ski Armad, and that again has a several different towns connected to it. I mean, so those are ones which are kind of near Salzburg in the kind of like the east and the center east. If you were flying into Innsbruck, and you wanted like some real big resort skiing, you've got Meyerhofen, and St. Anton is a popular spot for a little bit more of your sort of powder style skiing.
Okay.
St. Anton and Lech, which are connected.
Lech was definitely something we were hearing about.
Yeah. I've kind of lost track, but I know increasingly, Icon has been trying to step into the European market with some resistance, but I know it's partnered up with a couple of different resorts. I'm just trying to think where else in Austria. I mean, yeah, Meyerhofen is part of another ski area which is called the Zillertal, and that's really cool. So when I had to leave briefly at the end of not last winter, the winter prior, I went there for a couple of weeks, and that area is not as interconnected, but it's several different resorts all the way down this valley. And you buy the pass, which includes all those areas, and it includes public access. So you jump on the train for free. You're not having to pay anything extra for the bus either. Just all very seamless, which is, a little bit different from sort of things out here.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the big comparison. And I've told people that too, since I was lucky enough I tell everybody flying to Munich as soon as you can get a cheap flight. And then, go to Innsbruck, go to Kitzbühel, go from there. The Dolomites are 3 hours away. And strangely, everything's more affordable. The skiing's more affordable, the hotels, and even the food.
Yeah.
And it's the food and the après is much better. The skiing is different. It's all on piste. But anybody that skis a lot knows that. But
I think if you want a real all-round good balance of ski experience, but then also something that's affordable, Austria and Italy is your best bet. If you're looking for something a bit more premium, then I would say Switzerland and maybe France. Probably choose Switzerland over those two. But I can't say a bad thing about Austria.
All right, I see let's see. I just want to give it a chance here. We've been chatting for almost 30 minutes. Let's see. I'm not sure to see how many people are on here or not, but I just wondering, does anybody have any questions for, Matt or me for that matter? I ski a lot in the Northwest and been getting around in Colorado and Utah for years now.
Yeah.
I know a lot about Idaho skiing, which is getting more and more popular. But
it says we've got 4 people watching. So I'm keen to hear what's their start of the ski season been like. Have they got anything in, any prep?
Yeah. Anybody, any prep for the ski season or anything, what's going on out there?
Have you got snow though where you are right now, Cody, or are you still waiting?
It's been pretty bad. I live near Schweitzer Ski Resort, Sandpoint. Specifically, I live in Post Falls,
Uh-huh.
but Post Falls even has a few inches right now, which is it doesn't stick nowadays.
Yeah.
I haven't checked recently at Schweitzer, but they didn't manage to open for Thanksgiving, which is generally the goal.
Okay.
And then all the way to down to Utah and like Colorado, they've got barely anything. Like
Yeah.
the resorts that have been opened, you're seeing pretty bad video of it just being dry, and it's super rare for say Alta or a Snowbird not to get the snow.
Yeah.
So we're having a bad start to the year.
Yeah, there's been a few. I mean, we had the region actually had a pretty good October. We had some good cool temps and consistent accumulations, and then literally about, I want to say 7-10 days prior to when we were scheduled to open last weekend, we just had like 4 days where it went super warm. We had a lot of rain at all elevations, and it really set us back. And yeah, we finally things started to change midway through last week. We got a little bit of snow down in the town yesterday, and there's some pretty big snow in the forecast for this coming weekend. So they've pushed it back and said we'll open this Saturday. But there's so many of the areas like Big White, Sun Peaks, Silver Star, Marmot. All of these ones have all. You look on the Instagrams and everyone's posted the same type of video where it's normally someone high up standing behind snow where you can see a bit of snow, but it's obviously not enough. And they're pretty much reading the same thing. And everyone's super understanding about it, but it is obviously frustrating, especially if you were planning to travel from somewhere else.
Yeah, I have some exciting trips set up this year. There's an off the beaten path trip that we're going to go to Maverick which hardly anybody's known of in Montana, tiny resort, Lost Trail that has good elevation in Montana as well. And I hope to make videos of that. And there's also hot springs you can stay at. It's one of those trips that's affordable and cool and lesser known. And then in January, I'm going to go up to Panorama, which is a place I love. It's got it all if there's snow. But if you talk about lack of snow, Panorama is nicknames like the donut hole because it doesn't get a lot of snow. So I'm hoping in the next couple of months, like mid-January, to get up to Panorama and they get a good snow season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have some fun trips planned. We just need to get the snow going. But yeah, I don't know. We've sat here and chatted for about a half hour. I think we could talk a lot more. But I think that since this is our first chance to do this, I think 30 minutes, there's a pretty reasonable nugget of time to talk. But yeah, one more chance. Be great to get some questions. If anybody out there is doing any early skiing work or has any trips planned or questions, please shoot the questions and I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah. I think what I don't know about you with your experiences with the video making, but I find it takes a couple of videos as you get into the season for the engagement to pick up. And everyone, especially if there's a bit of snow in the forecast at various resorts, like then people's interest starts peaking a little bit. So yeah,
with that being said, I think as we do this, I think it'll be a lot of fun if we invite people on that we know that we can ask some questions. I love talking to people from other resorts that I haven't been to and ask to learn about those. If you know anybody from Revelstoke that would like to jump on here, in the past, I brought people on that have YouTube channels, like Ski Dad was willing to do it in the past, and some other people. Oh, we got something here. We've got
out east. They have actually. They have had a bit of a snowy start on the East Coast.
Yeah, that's nice. I have yet to ski in the East. I worked in the Northeast for about 2 months this year, and I got to drive by some of those resorts.
Yeah,
I'd love to do it. It's hard to get yourself out of the Rockies to go ski in the Northeast, but
yeah, I'd
love to hear more about Northeast ski culture. I know people love it up there. I hear it's a little icy, but it's got to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few of those resorts that I like the look of. I saw Le Massif. I had someone tell me about, and you can be sort of skiing down with views of the ocean, which is pretty unique. I think you can get that at Grouse occasionally when they actually have enough snow, but it's pretty rare. So yeah, and So what's that? That's Le Massif Charlevoix, I think. Where else have you got? I think Tremblant is another one up there, I think, which is supposed to be quite popular.
Yeah, one day we'll get up there. I have in-laws from Vermont, so hopefully I can make it.
It's one of these ones where you got to see what sort of your reciprocals you've got on your season passes as well. You know, like there's so much to choose from, and whether if you've got like a mountain collective pass or you're one of the resorts on them, there's all these opportunities, and then you just got to figure out what is the most effective.
Well, I think we've done a good job chatting it up here on our first attempt. But I mean, we talked about doing this bi-weekly, but if you ever, or bi-monthly, every 2 weeks. But if anything's happened and you want to talk about it, just let me know. We'll do an impromptu live stream.
Yeah, we could do. I mean, listen, Revy's going to open up on Saturday, so I mean, see how the week goes, whether there's anything worth talking about. I'll hopefully have a bit of footage by then, so that maybe that's something we could share. And I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a few people in Revelstoke that make content who I'm sure would love to kind of partake in this thing, and we'll see how it goes. But it's been nice to sort of kick this one off and touch base with one or two people in the comments.
I just had an idea now that we're getting off here. This might be fun. Are there any videos you posted really recently that I could run on here and see how it works out with the live stream, see if it's got good audio and whatnot?
So I've yet to, I haven't quite got around to editing the Rogers Pass video, but I did post the McRae one about a week or two ago. So I don't know if you want to try that.
Yeah, let me pull that up here.
Because that was, in terms of first days of the season, it was a pretty...
oh, look at us.
Oh, what have you been watching?
Yeah, ski videos. All right. Here we go. Let's see. I don't know what it's going to do with the audio, but is there one of these you wouldn't mind me playing? We could watch for a minute.
It's that first one. Yeah, that's the one from 2 and a bit weeks ago up at McRae.
Let's see. Oh, look at that. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Let me see. Does it have any audio here?
I think you might have it on mute. It's on mute.
Is that what that is?
Possibly.
It's taking a break on us for a second here.
Yeah.
See, we're getting the technical bugs worked out here. Hang on. You know, I've played these before, and it yeah, it looks like everything's turned on. I think we'll just have to figure out how to get it to play with the audio on this.
Oh, good. But yeah, even without the audio there, like it's. So wow. This was.
Look at his face. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that was just as we'd started getting to some steeper stuff. So the heart rate went up. We got lulled into a false sense of security on the FSR road, and then you start going up this beautiful.
Nice shots, right?
Yeah, it was very, very lucky. We stuck to pretty mellow terrain early season because that was the sensible thing to do. But it was good to practice your kick turns.
As right there, nice job, nice kick turn, solid.
Yeah, that was before the legs started to get tired. The form got a little, it dipped a little as you went later on. But yeah, even I mean, on this day there was sort of anywhere between about 1 meter to 1.5 meters, depending on the angles. And as we were sort of going up, we were trying to identify what would be the best routes, and could see quite a bit of wind loading on some of the steeper sections. So we actively chose to play it safe and do mellow terrain. But actually what we got from that was I think more than we expected.
Yeah, this looks amazing. Hang on, I'm obsessing over the audio, but let's see.
Do you know? I know that with StreamYard, the platform we're using, that it kind of invites you at times to load up certain clips where you can actually play them from the studio, I guess.
Yeah, and I've done that before, and I actually had to delete the video. I was doing talking to Wallace, who has a small ski resort here. I work out Lookout pass. At least I
Yeah.
worked there last year, and I ran a video like that. I actually had to pull the video because YouTube flagged it because they had some music in it, right?
Oh,
So, but yeah, that worked for sure. And maybe, you know, if we do this in the future, I'll have some stuff loaded up on
yeah.
some videos we've recently done, and I think it'd be fun to do that. I'll maybe by next week I'll have the one of Melissa and I at Sunshine, and
Yeah, likewise. I should hopefully by then have my clips from Rogers. So, you know, even if it's just a short one, and I know it's pretty. I forget how it works with StreamYard, but they don't. It gets a bit funky if you try and upload it in the higher quality. But we can see what works.
all right. Well, thanks a lot. I think this was awesome, Matt. This is fun. I look forward to talking more and doing this more and
Yeah.
getting some people on here and kind of having some shows and just having fun talking about skiing. So this was awesome.
Yeah, good to see you again, Cody. And I'm really looking forward to this. This will be good fun, and hopefully we got more skiing to talk about soon.
Yeah, enjoy Revy. Open it up, and I'll talk to you in a bit.
Talk to you in a bit, Cody. Cheers.
Bye.